Welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley today, joined by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, we're so glad you're here today.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're going to be talking about how you can run multiple businesses with one AttractWell account and what that might look like for you if you were to set it up. So we actually have a unique use case here today with one of our members of our community who actually wrote in requesting some feedback on how you might go about offering three things that didn't quite feel connected when you look at them logically on their face, and exploring different ways that we might be able to actually launch those offers and actually have them all contained in one place. So we're going to get into what that looks like today. But before we do, why don't you guys hop into the chat? I'd love to hear from you and learn about what you are offering in your business. And do you maybe have things that you want to offer that maybe you feel don't logically connect to one another, again, on their face? We've got a pretty extraordinary example, I think, today of three different things that you wouldn't necessarily think go together, but I think we found a common thread pretty quickly. And of course, we can just kind of explore these things with everyone here together on the call today. If you want to sort of dig into ways that you can be positioning what you offer in a way that is most effective, making the maximum use of your AttractWell account, we have the space to do that. So welcome. It's exciting to see you here today. So we've got a flower farm here. Hello, that's fun. I'm excited to hear more about that. You guys don't be shy. Head on over into the chat. We're live every week at 2 p.m. on Thursdays, and we are here to help you grow your business and of course show you how to use AttractWell to get that done. So I do have some slides that I'm going to get into here today, and then we are going to be going into an AttractWell account and actually showing you how we might go about setting something like this up. So without further ado, we're going to pop out a video for recording quality and head into some slides. You guys feel free to continue going in the chat here. And then of course, if you have questions, pop those into the Q&A. So today we are talking about how to run multiple businesses with one AttractWell account. So what's going to happen today is first we're going to address this question. Can I run more than one business with AttractWell? We're going to talk about some questions that you may want to ask yourself, some considerations that you might want to take into account, and some best practices. And of course, we do have space for live help and Q&A as well. So of course, if you are looking for one-on-one help, please do make sure that you put that request into the Q&A so that we don't miss it. So now, if you haven't done so already, head out into the webinar chat and let us know about your business. We want to learn about what it is that you do and what you offer. And of course, again, if you have questions, make sure that we put those into the Q&A so that we don't miss them. Now, if you want to work together live, excuse me, if you want to work together live on an upcoming call, go to attractwell.com/work review, and you can work with us in a dedicated space that we actually plan for and set aside in the latter half of one of our future Thursday calls. And finally, if you're watching this as a recording in the future, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours if you want to be on the list to receive the goodies that we send out ahead of time and to be notified before we go live exactly what we'll be talking about and get those opportunities to work together. Make sure you're on this list so you don't miss anything that'll be coming out in the future. And as we all know, there is a learning curve in technology, and there's quite a lot that we need to get done. And our expertise in what we do isn't always necessarily the tech stuff. So if you want a hand from experts, you can go to attractwell.com/concierge and see how you can work with our team to get things done in your business and to get your tech sorted out. Now, question for you guys. Let me see here in the chat. Do you have more than one business? Or do you have more than one offer? Do you have maybe offers that don't feel connected? Put those in the chat. I have a this and I have a that. And let's talk about that. Do they feel like they actually don't connect to one another? So typically, where we have a business that has multiple offers, one or more of those offers is going to be a little newer, right? It's going to be a little less proven. It's maybe a thing that we are getting our feet wet with or that we haven't really fully pursued, right? something that's maybe unproven. And unproven basically meaning we don't know that this is an offer that's going to last and convert for the long term, right? One or more of these offers is going to be in this sort of newer or unproven status. So if something is newer and unproven, why would you dump loads of resources into setting up an entirely new business system for each one? I mean, it doesn't really seem logical or smart, right? So that's why we're actually having this call here today, because if you have things that you are sort of testing or in the proving phase for, there's no reason why you can't use the system that you have today with AttractWell to make that offer. If the circumstances are as we will discuss today, there are a couple of cases where it's going to make more sense to have a separate account, and we will get into that. But in most cases, there's a way to make this work. Okay. So the majority of the time, you can sell multiple, sometimes seemingly disparate or separate things from one AttractWell account. The key is in how you brand yourself, your business, and your AttractWell website. Now, sometimes you may find that things are so totally disconnected that it does really make sense to set up a separate account. That's not the majority of cases. Sometimes it's usually going to reveal itself as something that's pretty obvious, right? Like if you have an established brand with an established email address that you are sending communications out already to an established list, and you check all of those boxes in those columns for more than one business, then you're probably going to want to have a separate AttractWell account, right? But generally speaking, if there is some degree of relation, if there is some thread that runs between, and there typically is, if it's something that you do, there's a thread that runs between, there's a way to get this done. And it's all in how you brand yourself and position yourself with your AttractWell site. So using one account for multiple businesses, let's get into just some of the basics here. As of this time, as of recording right now, we can connect one URL, one website address, and one email to your AttractWell account from which you will send out emails, right? And the website that will have every URL from your AttractWell system connected to it. One, okay? So this is the most important thing you need to know. There's one, right, per account. So there are ways to maybe forward from a URL to a page in your AttractWell account, right? If you want to brand a URL, for an offer that you're making. But generally speaking, we're going to have one URL and one email, right? Now, what we want to do to accomplish this is to brand yourself with your name, or create an umbrella brand that connects to the why behind your work and that resonates with the audiences for your different offers. All right. So what this means is, and we'll get into the example of someone in our community here today that I think will kind of help you see how this pulls together. What this means is that you are you, right? And you ultimately, if you're going to be creating content as a business, as you should, that content is authored by someone, and it's not authored by a faceless entity. It's authored by you. When you create content, people are building trust in a relationship with you. And we all know that as humans, we are capable of doing lots of different things. Now, when we look at a faceless company, let's just say Red Bull, for example, we know Red Bull for one thing, right? And if Red Bull decided tomorrow that they're going to start creating cars, we might kind of look sideways, right? Because that's a name, it's a brand, right? It's a faceless brand. But if an individual decided, if they're a coach today and they're going to, maybe they're a business coach today and they're going to venture into nutrition tomorrow, that makes a lot of logical sense, doesn't it? Because we are capable as individuals of being very dynamic and serving in very dynamic ways. So if you brand yourself as opposed to creating some kind of, creative in your mind, brand name that only you understand, if you're branding yourself, you're going to connect with people. They're going to trust you. And of course, whatever it is that you say that's relevant to them is going to lead them toward the things that you do, regardless of what those things may be, right? Not everybody is going to respond to every offer, but they will respond to you, and you point them toward where they need to go, right? And we do that by creating pathways using pages in AttractWell for people with different interests to find content and offers. So you are the hub. your brand, yourself, your expertise, you are the hub, you are the umbrella. You can, of course, again, go with a concept or an idea as opposed to your name. And again, I'll get into some specific examples here in a bit as well. But the idea here is that you are the umbrella under which all of these other things fit, right? And when we create these pathways on your website for people to explore these different things that you do, we just want to make sure that in any case where we are collecting leads for those different pathways, that we're using appropriate tags to segment our list. So here's an example, just to let's make this make more sense. Okay. Here's an example from an AttractWell community member. All right. So Angela has 3 offers and she's trying to figure out how she might be able to offer those things from her one AttractWell account. Now she has piano lessons, right? She has taught piano successfully in the past. She's got a lot of experience in this. She's also been in real estate part-time for 5 years, and she's just recently started in the last month or so, getting people started in real estate for themselves. She's also interested in providing counseling for adoptees. Now, these things, I think we can all agree, if you just look at these things, if you literally just read the black and white here on the screen, these things don't feel related, do they? Would you struggle maybe to conceptualize how you would build a web page that would adequately show that all of these things are very relevant things that Angela does that she could provide for you? Melody sees something here, teaching. Oh, we're about to go there, Melody. Yes. So yes, teaching is definitely a through line here. But if we're literally just looking, imagine for a moment that you arrived on Angela's website, and on her website, and which, by the way, she doesn't have all of these 3 things on her website right now. She did a beautiful job creating a real estate sort of landing offer. Because that's kind of where she's focusing her energy currently and sort of developing digital stuff, right? So if you landed on her website and you saw that there was get started in real estate, also take piano lessons, also if you're an adoptee, I can help you. Like that feels a little all over the place, right? If that's how we presented it. So here are the questions we want to ask ourselves before we move forward. And I want you to ask these of yourself as well if you have multiple offers, especially if they feel like they might seem a little disconnected. The first thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is looking at what is and on the priorities of your business. Because obviously, you have a business so that you can make money, right? So we need to make sure that we're clear on the things that keep the business growing and healthy. So the first thing that we want to know is, which of the things that you offer amounts to your primary focus. What is your main thing? What's the thing that's making money? What is literally the thing that is keeping your business financially running right now? Right? So that's the first one. The second one is, which of these is proven or the most successful? Which is the one that is working right now? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which is the thing that's working right now? Which of these things is representative of your greatest level of experience or authority? Which are you the highest degree of expert in? Where do you have the most authority and credibility? Then do you love all of them? Do you intend to keep them all long term? Maybe you have one that's proven and successful that maybe you have a high degree of authority in, but you don't love it. You kind of want to do something else. The way that you set that up might be that you start to focus more on the other 2 and in the direction you're branding yourself, keeping the other one there, but kind of creating a situation where you could drop it off where the others get to where you want them to be, right? You want to be thinking about this. What do you really want to be doing? Do you intend to do all of these things long term? Is one of them a means to an end for now? Is one of them a shiny object right now? In which case, you definitely don't want to go and create an entire new system if it's unproven, not making money, and it's kind of a novel, shiny object, right? And then finally, and this really kind of gets to the core of this, which of these are currently gaining consistent new leads and clients? And if they are, is that source one that is sustainable or scalable for you? Okay, so Angela is currently working and was unable to be on this live call. So we've been back and forth via email. So we're kind of talking through this as though Angela's here. So Angela's answers to these questions are as follows. First, for her piano lessons. She's newer to teaching in the digital world. Doesn't have a lot of content for this yet, but this is hands down her favorite. She doesn't really have, like I mentioned, infrastructure like courses in place yet, but this is where she has the most experience, the most authority. Okay. Getting people started in real estate. Now, she's been in real estate part-time for herself for about 5 years, but this getting people started in real estate is a newer offer that she's pretty excited about. And because of the networks that she is moving in, it has the highest current growth potential right now. She sees this is the low-hanging fruit, basically. She could actually potentially do more with this right now, given the people that she's surrounded by and the rate of growth that she's seeing with what she's doing. So this is something this is a hot one to pay attention to. Also, importantly, she doesn't have to build a lot of stuff in order for her to get this plate spinning, if you will, to kind of get things moving. Now, counseling for adoptees, we actually didn't get into a great deal with this. I know it's not her profession in terms of what she's doing right now. And it seems more like a heart-centered labor of love and service, which, I mean, we should absolutely, as humans in business, do things that feed our souls and our humanity, right? And so we want to find a way that this can be something that is actually doing good in the world in the way that she wants. All right, so these are our answers to this first set of questions. Now we got more questions. I love me some questions. Okay, so now that we've gotten clear on what your business is and what your business needs, now let's get clear on you, what you want. What do you really want? So first, what do you want to be known for? Then, if you could build a community of people that you love serving and who love paying you, what are the qualities, the goals, or values that they share with you? And what qualities, goals, and values do they share with each other? And if you could get paid to show up and speak to those people every day, what would you talk about? What would you help them with? Now, see, we want to have a foundation, that first set of questions, we want to have a foundation in what is, so that we can make sound decisions, right? But then we want to ask ourselves these questions so that we know we're building the business we want. We know we're directionally orienting ourselves with the answers to these questions. We're planting our feet on the ground with the first set. We're orienting ourselves with this set. Make sense? Okay. Angela's answers to these questions. What do you want to be known for? This is so beautiful. She wants to be known for being a full of life, contagious, on fire for God, giver, and risk taker. I love this answer. Who are your people? Her people are looking to live the fullest life ever with the short amount of time that we have, to create a life where we can all help others and give back and have time and financial means of doing it. How are you called to serve them? I'd like to talk to people and encourage them to let God lead them to the amazing things they can do, even if they can't see it yet themselves. God knows how we're built and knows that we can truly accomplish if we truly believe. Gorgeous answers, right? Okay, so now we know the direction that Angela is pointed at, right? We know that the long established thing that she could continue doing is teaching piano, and there are ways that she can build in things that support her, maybe working with more clients at a time, etc. Her hottest opportunity is in real estate right now, and the requirement of infrastructure is fairly low, so that's going to be a good one to give some focus to for the health of the business. And then if we can get these plates spinning, then we might start to see greater opportunity as well to start serving with the heart-centered focus that matters a lot to her as well. But let's just looking at this. What do you want to be known for? None of this is, the best piano player in the world. None of this is the best realtor in the world. None of this says anything about being an adoptee or helping people who are adoptees. What do you want to be known for? Who are your people? And how are you uniquely called to serve those people? It turns out Angela's business may not be about real estate, piano, or counseling, but about being full of life, contagious, on fire for God, giver, and risk taker. That's what our business is about being this and empowering others to live their most realized on fire lives as well. That's what your business is about. How many of you guys are familiar with the golden circle? Raise your hand for me if you have seen that amazing short video from Simon Sinek from about 12 years ago. It's on YouTube. Google golden circle. It's where Start With Why, an incredible book from him, comes from. That's what we're doing here. We're starting with why. Why? Why do you do what you do? And then how do you do it, right? So why we do this is being this person and empowering others to live their most realized on fire lives. That's the why. The how is by teaching them to express themselves with music, building more abundance and freedom in their lives with a newer part-time career path or side hustle, and how to discover healing and growth as an adoptee. That's our how, right? And the stuff of it, we just have to organize appropriately. All of these things fit under the umbrella of what Angela wants to be known for and the gifts that she has to give to that end. And it creates room for her to maybe add even more things that she does to help more people live their more fully realized lives, right? So what's needed now is an umbrella brand. So what we want to do is figure out what we want to call it, right? I always recommend first and foremost your name, firstnamelastname.com, especially if you intend at all on becoming an author or a speaker. Highly recommend get your firstnamelastname.com if you can. If in any event it's taken, then you might want to get creative, right? There are different ways that you can do this. We see a lot of folks in our community do withyourname.com, right? So withangela.com, growwithangela.com, learnwithangela.com, maybe something like that, right? But there are lots of other really interesting directions we could go as well. In our back and forth, Angela did say, you know, I don't want this to be about me. And I think that this is an important thing that, that we should touch on here. Having a web address that is your name and having your name be the brand doesn't make your business any less about your why. It makes your business more recognizable to the audiences with whom you need to build recognition and trust and respect. We don't build recognition, trust, and respect in relationships with Red Bull. We build them with humans, with person, name, right? First name, last name, right? So I highly encourage you in the majority of cases to go with your name however you can. In the event that, again, if you have a very common first and last name, that could get a little tricky. Maybe you want to get creative. You know, I actually had suggested to Angela that maybe she go with livingfullyonfire.com or something like that. And then of course, under that umbrella, she can say, I am here to help you live your most fully on fire and realized life. Here are the ways that I can help you. Here's how you can explore your creativity and express yourself with music. I teach lessons. Here's how you can empower a more realized life with a fun side hustle that helps people get, you know, a stronger foundation for their families. Here's real estate. I help people to heal, to strengthen themselves, and you know, and however else she would want to phrase how she helps folks who are adoptees. Right. And then there's loads of other ways that she helps people and is capable of helping people as well. Right. Living Fully on Fire could have a book club, right? Where you got all kinds of interesting ways that you can connect with people. And then of course, you're expanding that opportunity for exposure to the other things that you're doing. Right. So what we want to do first is get started with some kind of a web address. And then from there, we can start building an AttractWell. So what I'm going to do now is open up, and this is a new app on the Mac that I am currently kind of obsessed with. It's called Freeform. You've seen me use it, I think, on one previous call. And basically what this is, and you can do this on whiteboard and Canva as well. But this is just on my desktop and I love it and I'm using it. So, so this is Freeform on Mac. So what we're going to do is, conceptually speaking, we need to have a home page, right? So this is, I'm just going to call it Living Fully on Fire, or angelasname.com, right? So this is our home page. On that home page, we have pathways where we can say, here are the different ways that I can help you, right? And so in that case, we're going to have an additional page. Let's make this a new color. This pathway is going to be piano. This pathway is going to be real estate. And then this pathway is going to be counseling. And basically what you're going to do is, this is going to be the main homepage for your site. This is going to point off to your blog, right? So here's our blog. Maybe it'll also point off to your events. Pop that over here. It'll also point off to your community. If you have maybe a member area where you're building a community, right? And then of course, it's going to point off to all of these pages. Now you may or may not go with creating some kind of a lead magnet on this home page. The lead magnet most likely that you're going to want to put on this main page, because your focus is really pointing off to the different channels that people can pursue, is probably going to be something to the effect of like a general mailing list, right? So the offer, right? General mailing list, maybe a book club or a community or something like that, right? So your homepage is going to link off to, and your menu is going to link off to all these different things. But when we get over to the piano page, for instance, maybe it has a lead magnet of some kind that's a free video tutorial or cheat sheet, right? And then it's going to have testimonials, basically anything that you would put onto a homepage for your website. You're just basically creating a piano homepage. I'm actually going to call this piano homepage. And each of these will be real estate homepage, counseling homepage, right? And, for real estate, you might put a free thing on there. For counseling, you may put a free thing on there. And if you're using your AttractWell URL, so maybe angelasname.com, this would be angelasname.com/piano. This would be angelasname.com/real estate. This would be angelasname.com/counseling, right? And then of course, from here, they can go off to additional pages, right? So if, this is the piano lead magnet, and then this is the piano lesson sales page. You can basically repeat this out for all of these different categories. You just have to make sure that in this case, you have tag piano lead, right? And when someone becomes a client, you would tag them piano client when they make the purchase, right? And again, you would do this for real estate, you would do this for counseling. And when you're sending out your email, you would be filtering. If you're sending out something that's just for the piano folks, then you can filter your list in AttractWell for this segment, piano lead. When somebody signs up for the general mailing list, you can have a checklist that people pick off where you can say, I am interested in, and then you could have an automation tag them, right? With piano, real estate, counseling. So when you create a new blog post that's really, really focused on, on adoptees, for instance, that might not necessarily be as relevant to the folks who are learning piano or who are interested in becoming real estate agents, you can simply filter for the tag counseling. And because this is coming from angelasname.com, it's just as relevant to the people who are receiving it, right? Or livingfullyonfire.com, or however you want to set this up. But the cool thing is, because you are focusing on the brand being this outcome that they resonate with, or your name, if you happen to send something out to your real estate and counseling people that says, hey, by the way, you may or may not be interested in this, but I'm offering a free workshop on exploring your creativity with instruments. If that's something you might be interested in, come over here. And they can also become your piano leads because they already trust you for having shared this other stuff with them, right? And for having served them along these lines. So it's fully possible for you to incorporate lots of different things into what you do, so long as you can identify what the common thread is. And for her, these are people who have spiritual, religious alignment, right? They have spiritual path alignment with her and with one another. They have similar values to that end. They have similar desires to that end. Now, they may be practically looking for different things, but that said, if her focus is on building community of people who want to live fully on fire, then they're probably going to open their eyes to recommendations of any kind that she puts out there, right? So this is the gist, just to kind of put it visually here, right? Is that you can 100% create funnels that tag into new list segments, right? And then you can serve those multiple list segments from the same site if the name of it is something that makes logical sense to them. Right? So again, we just repeat these. And that's sort of the gist. Let me know if you guys have questions about this and sort of how it works. And I would like to also just really quickly get into a couple of considerations where you may want to choose to actually get a second AttractWell account, because there definitely are, let me go back to video. There definitely are some cases where that's going to make sense. Number one, if the offers really truly, the offers and audiences really and truly are just so completely separate, then you'll know, right? There are just some cases where it just doesn't compute, right? And if it would confuse the person who's receiving emails from you or going to a website, if it would confuse them, then don't do it, right? I would set up a new system, set up something separate. If you are coming to AttractWell from other systems where you have established lists and purchasers, you have people who have a brand that they have been following of yours that has a list that you mail regularly. There's an email address from where you email. There's a website that they're accustomed to going to, and you have another one, right? If you have two of those things, two established brands, two separate lists emailed from two separate email addresses, you do have the potential to kind of let those lists know that you're going to, be sort of shifting, rebranding, whatever. You do have the ability to do that, but that is a concerted effort that you would need to actually undergo. And you would be creating an umbrella brand at that point, right? So you would be rebranding both of those business entities. But if you want to keep them separate and it makes sense for the communications to be separate, you want separate AttractWell accounts. If they are separate legal business entities for the sake of your accounting and compliance, you're going to want those to be separate AttractWell accounts. So that's, I think, I don't know, Greg, unless you can think of some more use cases that would require you separating those, that's kind of the extent of what I'm kind of thinking up at the moment. So that's when you don't want to, but if it's not those cases, then you could totally do it. So I want to show you guys, let me see if we got any questions here. Does Angela need to have 3 different vaults for her offers? That's a really good question, Yulia. And I think it kind of depends. If I were in her position and her goal was to build a community, I would have one place where everybody could get dumped in, because that's where we really kind of build the vibe with shared values and shared interests. And you're going a step beyond just generating a list of leads and actually creating a heartbeat there in your business of people who aren't just connected to you, but they see you as someone who provides so much greater value because they've connected you to other people, right? That you like to be connected to. You get investment from people when you do that. So I would recommend that she have a vault or a Facebook group where she puts everybody. And then, yeah, I mean, if she's serving piano clients, for instance, or she has a piano course, that would be a vault, right? If she has a real estate education vault, that would be its own vault. And then sure, if she wanted to have a private space for just adoptees, then she may want to have another vault yet there as well. So that would be 4 total if she's even got the community on her site. But it's going to make sense to everyone because the person that they've developed trust with is her. And if that's her name, right? Or if they, again, all share the same values or want those same outcomes, then they're going to resonate with that living fully on fire, if that's how she's branding it. And so living fully on fire and going to that, to the real estate education piece on living fully on fire, these are people who aren't just people who want to be realtors. These are, these are Christian people living on purpose and wanting to be realtors as well. Like, so it's actually kind of adding layers to how she serves them. So, yeah, so I think that would work beautifully, just so long as what we're communicating isn't the stuff of what we do, like that's the surface level. Definitely please watch The Golden Circle this week. It's phenomenal and it's simple, it's easy to understand. And when you see the comparisons that he makes between sort of value propositions from an established, well-branded company like Apple, and then how a lot of us logically approach things from the shallow outside inward, I think it'll start to click for you. But if we start in the middle with why do I do this? Who am I here for? Then we know the answer first, right? We know why we're here. And then there's, okay, now what do I do? Right. And then how do I do it? And the how is the vaults, the how is the pages. But the what is the transformation that she's giving these people who want to live fully on fire. Because yeah, sure, they want to make some money, but she's not going to like have a makemoney.com website. That's goofy, right? And that URL would cost way too much money. But she could go with living fully on fire and attract people who share her values, who are going to go and talk about her to their friends. And whatever they learn from her, they're going to grow with that, and that opportunity is going to expand. Okay, so let's get into, Heather says, my domain is my name. I've also purchased a domain in the name of my business. Can or should I connect the business domain name to take people to the business page on my website to just my main homepage? So you want to be mindful when you're choosing the URL you're going to use with AttractWell. You want to make sure that it's the one that you want to have connected to everything. And it's the one that when you're creating content, you're saying, go to suchandsuch.com. Make sure that's like really easy to communicate and understand. And that's what you're going to be sharing all the time. Right? Because if they go to your blog, it's going to be that.com or whatever /blog. If you're sharing an event, it's going to be that/events. And if it's pages, etc. So you do have the ability, if you are a domain collector, like I know a lot of us are, you do have the ability to go into your domain management and point or forward a domain toward a single page on your AttractWell account. And so here's a use case for this, right? So if let's just say, for instance, Angela starts to really start like, she's getting big with this real estate thing that she's just kind of started about 4 weeks ago. She could have, and she does actually, she has a URL that is dedicated to real estate. She could keep that, detach it from her AttractWell account. The one on her AttractWell account needs to be something that is centrally branded around the people that she's serving or around her name. But then what she could do is she could take that website URL and she could point it to, let me go back over to my share here. She could point that URL to this page. Right? Or to, or to wherever she has like a lead magnet offer on her site, so that when she is on social media, when she is, out in the world or on a business card or whatever, if she wants to kind of delineate the things that she does, maybe she's in a place and she's really focusing on the real estate bit, she can use that URL. But when it goes to her website, it's hername.com, or it's, whatever that is, .com/real estate. So you can do that as well. So you can point your URLs that you have, your additional ones, toward pages, individual pages. Do this with sales pages. If you're branding a program, right, then you create your program sales page by the name of your program.com and just point that URL toward that sales page on your main account. Just make sure, again, on your AttractWell account, that the URL that you pick is the one that really does function as the umbrella for everything, because that is going to show up in the URL field for everything. TL, I love how what you're talking about is such a much needed counterbalance to the niche pressure. I would love to take the term niche and like ball it up, stomp on it, and light it on fire, because I think it is absolutely wrecking the way that a lot of us look at what we do, especially in the field of services and coaching and personal brands. So he says, can you recommend a few examples of folks who've made passionate business models like this work? I'd have to get permission from folks before I just start showing their stuff willy-nilly. But I mean, it's kind of the majority of people that build stuff on AttractWell, I think. I think it's actually the norm that people have more than one thing. Because especially in today's day and age, you look back like a few hundred years ago, somebody could say, I'm just going to do piano for the rest of my life. And I'm going to and there's Mozart, right? Which is great. But most of us in the digital age have such exposure to things that we can really chase our curiosities and our creativity and come up with really amazing things that, might not have ever been possible otherwise. And so no, I mean, it really is the norm that we have more than just the one thing that we do. We aren't, even though our web pages are like two-dimensional, right? They represent, multi-dimensional beings, as we are. So yeah, I would love if somebody would like to, if anyone would like to come out and chat about how to kind of set something like this up, then definitely raise your hand. Let me know, and we can talk through what your seemingly disparate offers are. Let's pull that central thread out so that we can determine what that main thing is. Oh, hey, Melissa, been a bit. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm loving this conversation because I've been struggling with this for quite a while because I don't like my name. So that's part of the problem. So I've been shying away from it because it's my last name people misspell all the time. So I've been struggling trying to find what should the name be. I do own my name. So I do have melissaweisenberg.com. I'm just afraid that people are constantly going to butcher the spelling of it.
Yeah.
But then I think of people like Martha Krejci, if she can do it, I should be able to do it, right? So
well, you notice she's like, her last name is not in her URL.
Oh, she's with Martha now. Yeah, but yeah,
that's right. So
yeah.
This is actually, you bring up a really important point. If your name is commonly misspelled and if you've got some I's and E's that people can easily switch, I mean, some of us can't even type the word weird sometimes correctly. So how are we going to spell your last name right? So
Exactly.
yeah, so what Martha did was brilliant. I mean, we can say her name is Krejci, but I challenge anyone who doesn't know her to spell it correctly right now.
Exactly. Right? And
so,
unfortunately for me, with Melissa is taken.
Okay.
So what I think all of my businesses kind of fall under, in general, health and wellness. Okay, so I'm a certified life coach. I'm a certified nutrition coach. I work with Juice Plus, and I do have some essential oils, not Young Living, sorry people. And so those all kind of fall under wellness. I also do a lot of like herbal stuff, and I love alternative treatments, alternative therapies and stuff like that. And so all of those go really nicely under the name that I've been using for a long time, which is Be Well. So I had Be Well with Melissa for a while, and that's B as in Bumblebee. So it's BEE, Be Well. And I've been using that for a while. But the thing that I really, really love, enjoy doing, and the thing that makes me money, more money than all the coaching stuff, is on the tech side of things. I work with coaches on branding and getting their logos and stuff like that. But they are usually health and wellness or life coaches. So I don't know if those things are just too different. You know, like one is very, very techy, very admin, and the other is kind of what brought me into that community in the first place. So it's
Okay. Well, what are like, I guess it's really the same questions. What are the shared values that, and because health and wellness, that's not values, those are interests. Let's take it a couple levels deeper, right? There's a reason why these people interact with health and wellness as you do, and this is something that you share in common with them. So you may find that there is a keyword to maybe use that makes even more sense, and then you just gotta kind of pull in the thread there. And because most of the people that you're serving on the sort of the tech and services side are people who are in the holistic space or somewhere in there, you know, they know that bubble. We know our words, right, in that space. And so whether you're talking about kind of, you know, supporting the business or supporting wellness, I would think about words like holistic, innate, and then I mean, really just again, not knowing your people and kind of the things that you really deeply jive with them. Like I think that that's where the magic's going to come up. It could be that there's a combination of maybe one of those words with Melissa for sure. It could be something else entirely, right? It could be you know, holistically Melissa or something like that, but it could also be you know, something that doesn't include your name, just so long as it really,
I do have Be Well with Melissa. So like you said, I'm a domain collector. So I do have Be Well with Melissa, but it didn't feel exactly right for my tech services. And I also had Virtually Melissa, which was great for my tech stuff, but not necessarily my coaching stuff. Although I do coach online, so virtually did kind of, I don't know. It's like,
so those are actually examples of, so, you know, for Virtually Melissa, you should be using Virtually Melissa, but point it to the page where they can see all of the Virtually Melissa offerings. Or, you know, Be Well with Melissa, you can point to all of your wellness offerings, but what we need is sort of an umbrella that connects all of those things. And so I think that that's going to lie in asking yourself those questions that we talked about here today, and specifically the second set. What do you want to be known for? And what is the answer to that question for you?
What do I want to be known for? I think I would like to be known for somebody who helps find answers and solutions for, oh gosh, it's almost two very different things. I'm trying to see if I can put them all under one umbrella, because in my coaching sphere, it's midlife women who have a substantial amount of weight to lose. So that's the coaching side. And then on my tech side, I help coaches trying to hone in on their brand and get their marketing and their social media content and everything pulled together. So I don't know how to combine those two.
So here's how. Get the why for both of those women. There's an overlap in the why. Why does she want to lose weight? Why does she want to do whatever with her business? Why does she want to brand her business? There's your overlap is in the why that they share, that they probably have in common with you on some level.
Okay.
And it's probably going to be more obvious. Like you're going to be like, oh my God, when you
tell
see
me,
it.
I'm so curious.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, but you do. No, I'm saying when you see it, you're going to be like, oh my God, like that's obviously, of course it's that. We want it to be more complicated because, you know, our egos really like for things to be complicated, because then we feel really smart when we figure things out, right? Yeah, it's probably something that you're going to be like, oh my God, it's been sitting in front of my face all this time.
Yeah.
They probably use same words, similar words. They're probably Googling similar words. Or when
Yeah.
they're talking amongst each other, if they're at brunch together, if this woman and this woman are at brunch together, what are they talking about? What are they griping about if they're besties? What are they wishing and hoping and praying for? They have
Mhm.
something in common there. There's
They
some
do. It's
value.
all health and wellness related. It is.
It is, but
Yeah.
if they were to form a secret society, what are their code words?
Oh goodness. I think that's where I'm struggling, because they do feel very different. One is totally in the business mind, and one is getting herself, to a place where she's comfortable and happy.
So she's in the business mind. Why is she
Yeah.
in business for herself at all? And why is she in the holistic space?
Probably to help other women, to help. Yeah. I don't know. I'm struggling. I really am.
So what I would maybe, and I would definitely start with the business people, because they're probably going to have some of the answers for the wellness stuff, because
Okay.
like you're kind of serving some of the same people in that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk with them, ask them, when you think about, like, when you look back at the end of your career, what
Mhm.
problem do you want to say you've solved?
Okay.
Right? Or what's the problem that you want to solve that gets you out of bed in the morning?
Well, I know what the problem is that they want to solve is,
Okay.
but I don't, they want to help other women and other people lose weight, feel good about themselves. That's ultimately what they want, but that doesn't really have anything to do with what I do for them, which is helping get their branding and their stuff together.
Have you considered elevate as a keyword?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I got to think on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that might be one that kind of crosses the bridge there.
Okay.
Elevated by Melissa. Elevated with
Okay.
Melissa.
I'll keep
Elevate with
thinking on
Melissa.
that.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
that, because then you've kind of got a little bit of an umbrella to talk about, the elevation in business, and you've got elevation in wellness, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe,
All right. Thank you.
maybe that. Yeah. There you go. Glad we could do that. Awesome. Thanks for coming out. Good to talk. Okay. We do have time for another, if somebody would like to come out. Melanie says, I have a farm site I've developed for a few years, but I'm organizing my essential oils and nurse coaching business. It seems overwhelming. I have melaniern.com, but it's confusing for farm flower people to embrace the wellness piece. So Melanie, have you tried your firstlastname.com or with firstlastname.com? Because there again, you can say flowers dot with Melanie firstnamelastname.com, right? Or you could say, health or wellness with Melanie firstnamelastname.com, etc. So that is an option for you. You guys feel free, again, if you want to chat through, maybe kind of trying to figure out what the threads are to pull in your business, or to sort of conceptualize how this would work. Then of course, raise your hand and we can talk through this. Let me see. Hey, TL.
Hi, you folks hear me okay?
Sure can.
Cheers. You folks doing okay?
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, pretty good, thank you. I'm always a little shy to ask questions because I feel like I'm always asking way too many questions. So, anyways, here's my question. You probably know, I offer what I call 360-degree mentorship for musicians. So it's not just music lessons and piano lessons, it's also artist development. And since I'm also a certified psychotherapist and nutritionist and personal trainer, that's part of the self-care packages I'm trying to help them out with as well. Now, I run a content writing business as well. Until now, most of my work has been writing for musicians, artist bios, press releases. A lot of my testimonials have been that as well. Would you say that is something that will benefit from integrating as part of the whole holistic musician academy thing, or should I keep that separate?
I think that the Holistic Musician Academy, well, I guess it depends, right? It depends on, do you love the writing part? Is it a main income generator for your business? Is it something that you plan to keep around? Like if all things were perfect exactly as you want them to be, would it be a part of the picture? If the answer is no, then by all means keep it separate. If it does fit in and you really do enjoy it, then maybe your brand is really around nurturing your inner message or developing your inner message or your inner artist, or sort of developing your inner artist, nurturing your inner artist, caring for your inner artist, or something along those lines, because that's going to at least give enough space to nod toward the writing piece.
Gotcha. My connection's really bad tonight, I'm afraid. So I missed out on a lot of the first part what you said. I'm gonna go back and listen to that though, but please I want to respect your
Okay.
time. That being said, now actually that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay. Fabulous. Come out and ask
I thought
questions
I had a
anytime.
question, but I think I lost it. I thought I had a question, I lost it. So I'll get back to you when I find it again. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. You're always welcome to come out and chat. Fabulous. Well, I hope that this has been illuminating for you guys. I hope that it gives you some confidence and some direction, and kind of looking ahead to ways that you can really broaden the way that you talk about what it is that you do, so that you can provide a better umbrella to put everything beneath. And of course, with AttractWell, you have that whole umbrella that you can put your business inside of, and using tags inside of your funnels, of course, can help you to segment your lists, and you can create your pages, have everything set up to send from that sort of umbrella concept brand, and point, if you wish, from those domains you've been collecting toward the different offers that you are putting together and offering as a brand. So again, love to have you guys here. We're here every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we so look forward to seeing you again next time. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk soon. Bye.